Light Yoga, coming live today to talk about could yoga be actually your first step to out of anxiety. I know for me it was very much my first step out of anxiety. When I first started doing yoga, the reason I started doing yoga was because I was really anxious. I had that typical anxiety thing of waking up in the middle of the night, cold sweat, not being able to sleep when I was not being able to fall back to sleep, spending my days basically just worrying over anything, um, to a point that I would have that feeling of having my life going on and me kind of going through it while getting through that anxiety, dark thing that I was carrying around. So it wasn't a very good place. And when I started going to yoga, first of all, it got me that 90 minutes a week where I actually could calm my mind down and I could just distract it from all of those negative thoughts. And then little by little, it kind of became my regular thing. Every week, I would go there and I would feel better for those 90 minutes. And then it started to have a wider impact where I started noticing that I could kind of use some of those techniques when I wasn't feeling quite so great in between yoga sessions. And the time when I really started to do yoga regularly for me was at a time when I was particularly low and when I was particularly anxious that my husband had just been, his job wasn't going well. I had just left mine and we had moved house. So that was a lot and I wasn't in a good place. And that's when I started doing my yoga every single day. And I haven't looked back since. I've been doing my yoga every single day since, and that's basically what is keeping me sane. So, and then it's had a lot more changes. It's caused a lot more changes in my life, but at the end of the day, yoga was how I got myself out of that anxiety that was really eating at me and stopping me from doing what I wanted to do with my life. So, as far as I'm concerned, yoga can very much be that very first step. The very first thing that it does is that it makes you commit to taking time every week for you. If you go to a weekly class, either outside, if you can find one face to face, or if you're doing it at home. That would be that time for you, that you take for you, and where you can basically be a bit more in touch with yourself, which at the beginning can be scary, can be uncomfortable. But the problem with anxiety is that I've found over years of looking at it and trying to figure out a way out of it, is that anxiety and low self esteem are very much linked. Anxiety very often comes from the fact that we don't think we're good enough, we don't think we can cope with life, or sometimes a specific amount of a specific point of life, but basically we don't think we can cope because we don't think we're good enough. And if we spend our days constantly doing stuff for other people and not doing anything for me, we're just perpetuating that feeling of, oh, I don't matter, I'm not important, I'm not important, I'm not valuable, I'm not valuable, I'm of no value, I can cope, and that's when the anxiety kicks in. And doing yoga, committing to a regular practice, is that very first thing that you could do for you. When you say, okay, this is my time, I'm taking that for me. And that's going to start building you back up from the inside. It's going to start building back that self-esteem from the inside and making you feel that little bit more confident. And once you get past that, that's when yoga starts to help you connect with who you are. And you start noticing a bit more of what matters to you. I remember that I got to a point where I actually wouldn't know what to do with my free time anymore. That I would work and then I would be home and the anxiety would be there ticking away. And when I wasn't busy, that was either even scarier because my mind was just going round and round. And if I was to, let's say, take a day out, go shopping, go whatever. I'd be there going from shop to shop, going, I don't know what I want, I don't know what I want to buy, I don't know what to do, and just unable to make any kind of decisions to nourish me, to make me feel better. So yoga gets you in a place where your mind calms down, and so you can get in touch with a bit more of what you like, what really lights you up, what makes you feel good about yourself. And once you discover that, you can start doing it. So you do the yoga, and then whatever comes out as, yeah, I could do that, or that would be fun, that would be nice. And then you start doing that extra little thing. And again, that's building up that strength, that's building up that self-esteem inside you, which I really think is very much the way you get yourself out of anxiety. And a yoga class should be a very nurturing, yoga practice should be very nurturing and comforting. Like, I do my yoga practice every day, but I don't do everything every day. There are some days where I feel like, okay, sun salutation, warrior poses, triangle, all of the big ones, and I've got a very, very energetic routine. And there are some times where I get to my yoga mat and I end up doing the cat for a little bit, and then I end up doing a very long relaxation because that's how it feels. Yoga hasn't got to be anything really specific. It's a case of coming back to you and checking in with you, noticing what feels right, what feels comforting, and working with that and just accepting that. So again, you're looking at yourself without that negative point of view, without that I've got to be doing something useful with my time, I must do something useful, I must start stretching and energize and all the rest of it. If some days it doesn't feel like it, just take it easy. When I started doing yoga, I had very much that very goal-orientated. I am going to yoga. I just had my first daughter as well. So I was going to yoga to tone my core muscles, to calm my mind. That's what I was going to yoga for. And I hated the relaxation at the beginning. Hated it. It was kind of a, come on, 20 minutes lying down on my back, doing nothing. I'm here to tone my body again. And that was all resistance. That was resistance to being kind to me and to nurturing me. So really treat your yoga practice like that. If some weeks, some days, you don't feel like going for it and doing a very energetic practice, it's fine. Just do what feels right. And if some days the yoga practice is more of a walk in the park or walk outside and being mindful, being aware of the noises around you, of how your body feels when you're walking, that's another way of incorporating yoga and of, again, getting to build that self-esteem, that self-confidence inside you, getting to build that idea that you are worthy, that you are enough. And if you are worthy and if you are enough, then you don't need to have quite so much anxiety. When you start looking after yourself, the anxiety starts going down a little bit, and you are in a much more positive, much stronger place. And I've been doing yoga for 12 years now, and I've been doing it every day pretty much, for, well, regularly anyway, more than once a week, for about 7 years now. And it has changed a lot of things. It's not just the yoga exercises on the mat. Like, it's changed the way I think. I'm a lot more positive. Like, when something happens, my first reaction isn't anxiety anymore, when before it would be. My first reaction is more like a curiosity of, okay, yeah, of course, rubbish happens, stuff happens all the time, but I don't go straight away into freaking out about it. It's helped me be a lot more positive. It's helped me take some distance from what's happening. I find that I sleep better, that I'm a lot more aware as well of the food that works for me, because by doing yoga regularly, you get in touch with your body, and you might realize that, I had that for lunch, and I feel really not particularly energetic after that, and I feel really heavy. So you get more in touch with yourself. And you might start to change the way you eat. You might start to change a little bit of your routine. I've become vegetarian when I was doing my yoga teacher training, which wasn't at all in the cards. It's just that it naturally happened that I started to really change the way I was looking at my food, the way I was looking at my shopping habits. And all of that came from being more aware of what mattered to me. And what opened the door to me realizing what mattered to me was my yoga practice, and was that time of checking in with me and being in touch with myself 2, 3 times, 4 times a week, and now every single day. I couldn't do without it. So that's why I really think that yoga can be that starting point out of anxiety. Because from what I've noticed, my anxiety rises up when I don't feel worthy, when I don't feel I'm good enough. And yoga was my very first step that I took to a point where now, yes, I still have anxious days, but they are few and far between. I also have the tools now to address them, and I am in a place where my positive mindset is strong enough that when the anxiety comes, it doesn't stop me in my tracks anymore. I used to have days where I would waste hours of my time Googling stuff that I was anxious about. Like I remember having a headache one day and Googling all of the horrible things that can give you a headache. And think, oh my God, basically I'm going to die within 2 weeks. That was horrible. And now, yes, of course, sometimes on a bad day, I get some kind of physical complaint that I'm, kind of, oh, okay, that's a weird thing. And yes, sometimes if I'm in a bad day, the anxiety comes, maybe you should look into that. But then now I've got that positive mindset that, right, take that down, just leave it be. If it's still there, in a couple of weeks, whatever it is that was bothering you, then yes, go for it, look at it and a bit more, and maybe go and, get help or whatever. But I don't waste hours of my time Googling every single thing I could find out about it and asking, oh, do you think I could be this? Do you think I could be that? And really going with that anxiety. That's what I used to do. The anxiety would come up and I would race along with it. And hours or days would just disappear in me wasting my time worrying. On the outside, looking perfectly in control and perfectly on top of things, but deep down, constantly thinking, what could it be? What's wrong? What's the matter? And that is draining. It's horrible. And now, when the anxiety comes up, again, it's few and far between. And when it comes up, okay, I recognize you. It's anxiety. I leave you there. I carry on. Whatever triggered my anxiety, if it's a real thing, I'll address that real thing that triggered my anxiety. But I am not going down that dark tunnel of obsessing over all of the bad things that it could be. So that was my journey, going from that place of running ahead with the anxiety, wasting hours, if not longer, if not days, with it, to a point where now, mostly through yoga and also through self-discovery, self-growth, mindfulness, through all of that, I'm in a place now where, yes, anxiety is still part of my life someday, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm now in charge of my life. The anxiety is not in the driving seat anymore. And yoga, for all of those 4 reasons, I think, was instrumental in me getting over that. And so taking the time for you, as I took the time for me, getting more in touch with what matters, with what lights you up, maybe making more general changes in your life, and then the whole nurturing and comforting aspect of yoga. So I've got something really, really exciting actually coming up on the 9th of November. I'll be doing a 5-day free online challenge that will be all about using yoga to overcome your anxiety and to reconnect with your inner strength. So watch out for that. I'll be posting about it this afternoon or probably maybe tomorrow. It's not anywhere yet. It's the first time I've mentioned it, so you're the first ones to hear about it. So it's going to be 5 days, completely free, and by the end of it, you will be in a better place. You will be at a place where the anxiety is less, and you've connected with some of those desires, some of those things that really light you up. So watch this space. That's coming soon. So that will be starting on the 9th of November. And for today, I'll say goodbye, take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.